Today I will rant again because I have nothing better to do. We're gonna start off very simple, rant about school in general, but also there's like a little trick to everyone who's watching, who's part of the Indian education system, and you're in like sixth, from the age of sixth to like ninth. This basically, if you're in middle school or you've just started high school, this is the best advice for you. Stop complaining about the system. The system is fucked. Okay, the system is bad. The system does not actually teach us shit we need to know. The system is flawed, heavily flawed. It does not recognize actual logical reasoning abilities, blah blah blah. Call it whatever you want. Okay, you can go on and on and on and on about complaining about the system. And of course, the system is bad. We all know that. But the truth is, the only way you can change the system is if you pass through the system and get out of it and then you criticize it, right? There's no point in you as a child constantly whining about the system being bad. You can't just expect that. Just okay, school as a concept, children have been hating on school since school began. No one likes school particularly, at least not those who attend it, right? That's the problem. And it's like you can't expect people to just listen to you. This is your education. It's a system you are a part of. And now what you can do is you use that system as an advantage. Let's talk about CBSE particularly. CBSE is nothing but it's like algorithm, okay? You have, let's talk about board exams. Board exams, the teachers who check board exams, all they're looking for is the answer that fits the, like, they're just looking for like keywords. If you're gonna write like 5 pages of shit for one answer, and but it's still not gonna have the keywords that the teacher is looking for, you're probably not gonna get full marks. As somebody who, I mean, I don't get the best marks, right? I'm not like a topper or anything, but I can assure you, I get at least 90 above every year. Like I used to get 95 above every year, but ninth changed that. Ninth, I only got 92. But I can assure you, when you are participating in exams, the one thing that matters is the examiner, because no one else. It depends on absolutely no one else what your marks are. It depends on your examiner. If you cannot plead your examiner with your answer, then the examiner is not going to give you the marks needed. And that's why it's so important to write an answer which every single examiner would look at and go that, yeah, that's the correct answer. It has everything I'm looking for. One, try to make them as appealing as possible. Underline the keywords, write in points, and always have a good handwriting. Leave a lot of space. If you don't have a good handwriting, at least it should be legible. Yeah, if it's not legible, that's a problem. Otherwise, having like a slightly messy, not exactly the most aesthetically pleasing writing is perfect. That's okay. But you need to make sure it's legible. You need to make sure that when the teacher looks at your answers, they feel at ease, that they don't have to sort through each and every line. Like, it's just easier for them to check, because essentially all they're doing is they just see the keywords and they're like, yeah, that's correct. A lot of examiners do that. A lot of people who check your paper are going to do that. Use the system to your advantage. Get out of the system. Then you can criticize about how shitty the system was. Then you can try changing the system. Not like this. And then again, it's like there's a standard education system. The standard of education currently, I would not say it's that bad. I feel like there are some good things that they're being taught, they're teaching us in school. But there's one important thing to remember. When it comes to education system, you have to take into like consideration a lot of factors. Especially if you're gonna change so much. It's not like if you're gonna change like a vast amount of things, it's just gonna be a lot. Like I don't think that you like it's gonna have to be like a very gradual change from like CBSC is like kind of like I don't really know what to say. Now, here's an advice for anyone who's in middle school currently or is like in the beginning of high school, or even if you're basically above sixth grade and below ninth grade, or like just starting ninth grade, maybe I can give you majorly if you're in middle school. This is good advice. Remember one important thing: you might not have amazing friends in the beginning of middle school. You're not gonna have like the kind of friends that you would have for your entire life. You're not gonna have friends you're completely dependent on. You're not gonna have friends who you can vent to, unless you do, which is amazing. But always remember, it is important to have at least one or two good friends, like good friends in the sense that you can rely on them. It doesn't matter what's happening, you can always go to them to ask them, like just talk to them. There should be like at least one or two constants in your life. You can't just live a life without like any one specific friend that you have to go, that if you're actually facing a problem, you're gonna go to them. Not just if you're facing a problem, but they're the kind of people who are like a comfort zone. Like if you're like in an empty room and you walk in, like you're not in an empty room, but it's in a crowded room and you see their face and you immediately light up. You're like, yeah, that's my person. I have to go to them. That is the kind of friend that you have. You should have. But trust me, when you first like, how do I put it? When you first make those friends, you don't really know they're gonna end up being those friends. A lot of friends are gonna end up being bad friends, good friends, doesn't matter. But that one constant person, it doesn't just like immediately click. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes with some people it does. Like you just immediately click with each other. You're like, yeah, I've adopted this person, emotionally adopted this person now. But it doesn't happen with everyone, and that's the thing. You need to build friendships, and you need to categorize who you want to build friendships with. Stop chasing after friendships per se. Try to figure out who you are first. If you are a person with like no really close friends, and also you have friends that you feel like you can't really trust, or you just don't have that many friends, then you don't need to focus about getting friends. You need to focus on yourself. If you develop a personality that's actually going to be like, basically if you develop personality, there are going to be people who want to be friends with you because they're going to notice that personality, and only people who notice you for that personality are going to be good friends of yours, instead of people who are just like, like, oh, we read the same book. Having common interests does not like equate to being good friends with that person. You can have the same music taste, the same shows you can be watching, read the same books, be part of the same fandoms, everything. Yet you can still not be good friends with that person. Me and my current best friend, I mean my best friend, we don't have any common interests. We don't listen to the same kind of music. We don't watch the same movies. She doesn't even watch movies and shows. I watch a lot of movies and shows, and we have completely different like tastes and everything. We're still best friends, right? It doesn't change anything. Having What matters is like your perception of the world, like how you look at the world. Another thing for all the girls, don't date guys. I'm telling you, this is so important to me. I feel like everyone is just they just fantasize about having a boyfriend or being in a relationship. And trust me, being single, it's a privilege. You have your independence, your freedom. You can do whatever you want. You are not settling for less. The moment you decide to choose a guy to date, you end up complicating your life. You're settling for less. This is you at your very best when you're single, and this is you at your very best when you're in a relationship. Trust me, you cannot be your best if you're going to tie your personality and your identity with the identity of a man whose maturity hasn't fully developed. Girls mature faster, that's a fact. They don't mature faster because of any reason other than the fact that society has forced us to mature faster, because we have to deal with a lot of shit when we're super young, okay? It's sad that we have to mature faster and that we don't get to experience true childhood the way guys do, because we can't be excused for like our misbehavior and all that things. Men are never going to be held accountable for anything they do, okay? Remember that. You are a mature, independent person. The fact that society has pressured you to becoming mature, again, it's not about how shitty it is. It's about how shitty it is and how you can use that shittiness to your advantage. Unless you can change the shittiness. And I feel like the only way you can change the shittiness is if you go through the shittiness and then you use the shittiness as an advantage to become something better out of that shittiness, and then you use your better self to fix that shittiness. I know that sounds stupid, but yeah. Like, if you're ever gonna date a guy, at least date them when you're like in college or much later on if you want to. But trust me, it's not worth your time, the effort. It doesn't even matter. one thing that I've seen a lot of girls do is they date someone just because the other person likes them. Like if a guy proposes to you, confesses to you. First of all, why do people use proposes like such a common term in India? Like, अरे उसने उसको propose कर दिया. Like, I don't think that's how it works. Like proposing just means like you're asking them to marry you. Anyways, if somebody confesses to you tomorrow, you would probably be like, oh, I should consider, because not a lot of you have experienced getting confessed to. So it feels like this new sudden source of validation, and you think that boom, I'm getting validated by this person, henceforth I must validate them. Which is not how it works. Just because a person likes you doesn't mean you should like them for liking you. You should like the person for who they are. You cannot date a person who you don't even know. You need to date people who you have grown to some extent with, who you know, who you can trust, who you've developed a friendship with. You cannot date someone who's not your best friend. Like, trust me, you can't be in a relationship with someone who's not like your person, your good friend. Like, if you're like, and a lot of the times, girls just end up dating guys who are not anywhere near them, like at a level. Like, a man can never be out of your league. He's a man. He can't be out of your league. Okay, that's not how it works. If you were in 11th grade, or like, if you, sorry, why did I say 11th? If you're in like middle school or high school, trust me, don't date a guy. Don't date a guy in school. Guys in school are just, they're gonna ruin your life. Okay, they're gonna ruin your life. They're gonna like make you emotionally attached to them. They're gonna like come to you for every little problem. They're gonna be like, oh, मेरे घर पे ये हो गया, मेरे को रोना आया. And then when you come to them, they're gonna give you the shittiest solutions. They're not gonna make you feel good about yourself. You're always going to be constantly doubting things, because they have emotional capacities of a teaspoon. Okay, they are always changing. The mood swings are insane. It's like one day you're like the happiest person alive, and the second day you're like, oh my god, I'm crying. And they keep taking everything too personally. They're too sensitive. They're too annoying. Most of them are racist, arrogant, and sexist. Most of them are homophobic. All of them, and they have like horribly aligned political minds. And there's nothing good in a man that isn't in you. Wait, no, that makes no sense. There's not, yeah, I don't know. There's nothing in a man that isn't in you. Okay? You, as a woman, as a girl, you are so much. You're like a multitude of a billion things. And if you're gonna settle from some wheezy ass boy who probably doesn't even wash his hands after shitting, I don't even know. Like, think of it. Having them in your life making your life better? Or is it just like that little support or little validation or that little label you like, that, oh, I'm in a relationship, like, oh, it's my person? A lot of the times when I've been in situationships or like anything at all, relationships, whatever, I want to go back to when it never happened. Like, I want to go back to myself before anything ever happened, because it's just the level of like yourself you can be when you are all by yourself, when you're single. It's the best. I'm not saying don't date anyone at all. I'm just saying dating, it's like kind of a huge scam. We've romanticized romance, and I know that sounds dumb, but every single person you meet, they're like, oh, single life, single life. It's not sad. Single life is amazing. Trust me, you do not need to be validated by anyone other than yourself. You don't have to be in love with anyone if you're in love with yourself. I know. That's the problem. That's the one thing most people don't get. Of course, as women, we have grown up in environments where we have been taught to seek male validation, where we have been taught that if you have male validation, you have everything. That is why so many of us, without even realizing, settle for men and start liking men who are like Loki. And like, that kind of pisses me off. Like, I'm sorry. Are you telling me that you're gonna settle for a guy who has no emotional maturity? One of the biggest things is emotional maturity. A guy can be the sweetest, nicest person in the world. He can be non-racist, which is again bare minimum, but also it's so hard to find bare minimum in this world. Like, he can be a feminist, he can be like amazing, right? But then he would not have emotional maturity. He wouldn't understand what to do when you're feeling down. He would make it a competition of who's had a harder day. And he just, trust me, there is no man worth your time. If you ever want to date someone, then do it later. Or currently, just date a girl. I mean, if you want to, if you go that way, but it's up to you, of course. I mean, but I would say that instead of dating people, just try to like, I don't know, try to be yourself, to be best version of yourself, be the best version of yourself. Watch movies, watch shows. Also, stop watching short form content like reels and shorts. Just don't. Okay, they're rotting your brain, and I mean this. And least I don't want to sound like a boomer, but I genuinely mean it. They are training your attention span to be like less than like 5 seconds. That's what short form content is doing to you. Stop watching short form content. Watch, if you want to watch YouTube, if you want a form of entertainment, then go on YouTube, watch long form videos, watch videos that are like genuinely mind bearing, and not even just mind bearing. Watch movies, shows. Stop watching short form content, which is super accessible and endless. That is what is ruining your brain. When you say you can't study, you can't focus because every time you want to go back to your phone, it's because you've trained your brain. These shorts, the algorithms used in them, the constant like the accessibility of just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and having like the 5 seconds worth of content at you every single moment. That entire concept, it's made your brain think that content should be accessible, short, it should not take your time up, but instead, because of how short it is, you love the repetitive factor that it gives your brain, and that's why it becomes a huge waste of time. And you guys barely even learn anything from shorts. Like, I'm telling, what are you learning from shorts? I'm sure like there are some really informative shorts that you're learning a lot of shit from, but for every single topic covered in those shorts, I'm sure there is a long form video on YouTube. Watch Mark Rober, watch Cleo Abrams, watch like Veritas Liam, watch Fern, watch anyone who makes long form videos that are interesting. And if you don't want to do that, just watch random short films. There are so many good short films produced by people with the camera and a dream on YouTube. They're so good. There's so many. I'll link some in the description because there are some really, really good ones on YouTube that I just enjoy so much. Stop watching short form content. It is destroying your brain. And right now, I can tell you this: a lot of people would watch this and be like, it's not really doing that. Like, I'm fine. I watch a lot of short form content, and I'm fine with it. But trust me, in the longer run, you're not going to be fine with it. You need to find a way. If you have an Android phone, disable the app, put an app timer or something. And if you have an iPhone, just delete YouTube. And I know a lot of people are like, whoa, you don't need that. You don't need. I wish there was like a way on YouTube to disable shorts, because short form content is genuinely the bane of the existence. Like, it's horrible. And like children these days using AI for like every single thing, the most basic critical thinking skills are just gone. It's like they're not even there. That's the thing. That's the problem, right? It's like they're using AI to make posters and to write like stupid little paragraphs and slogans, and all of it might seem really irrelevant because it's like yearly school activities, they're very useless, right? Because essentially what they're doing is they're just making us a poster. Like, it's kind of stupid. It doesn't really teach us anything. It's just for like some extra marks. It's an activity in school. It's a project, not actually academically oriented in any way. However, the way they make you think, the creative aspect, like you think of how you're gonna write that slogan, you think of how you're gonna make that poster, you think of the colors they're gonna use, you think of everything. That entire thing is given to you by some fuck ass robot who is like drinking a billion liters of water every day, instead of your brain doing it for you. And that's why your brain thinks that, oh, I have this. I don't need to think this shit on my own. And then boom, your brain rotted. You're doomed. You have no mind of your own. You can't think. And like 10 years from now, you don't know anything about life. You think you can depend on AI for everything. And fuck's sake, you probably can, but depending on how fast AI is just killing everyone at this point. AI pisses me off because there are so many good users of AI, but people are using it to make AI fruit Love Island. What? Like, I'm sorry. Write that essay by yourself. And for all the girls, Don't settle for boys, okay? Don't do that to yourself. You're not gonna enjoy it. You're always gonna look back at it and think that I should not have done that. And even if you don't think you should not have done that, you never know the person you would have been if you wouldn't have put yourself through that. Not only put yourself through that, if you wouldn't have settled for something that's like so subpar, okay? And yeah, study. Genuinely study. Put efforts into your humanities classes. Think of things. Don't try to interpret things. If you don't want to learn too much, that's okay too. It's obviously your choice. But if you want to be aware, study. There's nothing wrong with studying. It's the only way you become something. And just, even if you don't want to become something, that's your choice, right? I mean, I can't be somebody tell you that you have to do something in life. That's not how the world works. You can do whatever you want to. Free will, illusion of it at least. Just try to be a smarter person, be a better person, and be nice to people because it's free. And I know it sounds dumb coming from like a 15-year-old girl who knows nothing about the world, anyways. But there are so many things that I wish I could have like changed about my middle school years, which I feel like I should have done. Like I should have put taken things into consideration. I didn't take those things into consideration, and now I'm facing the consequences of that. And I think I'm doing well at improving, but at the same time, it's also like, I wish I would have never been here in the first place, in a place where I have to improve things. And that's it. Don't criticize the system. Use it to your advantage. Harness it in such a way. Channelize it in such a way that you can become something out of it. Then point out how flawed the system is, and then you fix the system. That is all you can do right now. Sitting there as a child whining about how shitty the system is not going to get you anywhere.